Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on.
All right, welcome to another edition of the podcast. Today we're talking with Kimberly Pearson. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Kimberly Pearson, obviously, and I am Carnivore Kimberly on Instagram. I run Choose Zero Coaching, and my whole purpose in life, as far as I can tell, is to help people get off the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet, which is very carb-heavy, sugar-centric, leads to insidious weight gain over time, and that's what I've been doing.
Excellent. So I've always been curious, just because I've heard of people doing the keto diet. I've heard of people doing, I guess it's not really Atkins diet anymore, but the Mediterranean diet, and what would you say the differences are between what you're doing and those?
So what I'm doing has been coined the carnivore diet, and that is a close to zero carb animal-based diet. So the bulk of my nutrition comes from animal foods. So like earlier today, I had a steak and some eggs for lunch. And mostly what I eat is either 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day with beef and or eggs or some combination thereof. The difference between the keto diet, because that's one of the most popular diets right now for weight loss as well as metabolic health, is that keto allows you to have, and I say allows, we're all adults, we can eat whatever we want, but if you're following strictly the ketogenic diet, you are required to keep your carbohydrate count close to or under 20 grams of carbs a day. You're eating a lot of vegetables, you're eating a lot of fat, you're eating moderate protein. So the difference really between keto and carnivore is, devil's in the details. I don't eat anything that contains plant fiber. So no vegetables, no fruit, no seasonings even. And that's just something that I have developed because of my own personal intolerances to things like that. I find that I'm very sensitive to nightshades like cayenne pepper, tomatoes, eggplant, potatoes, and just fiber in general does not agree with me. But on the keto diet, they encourage you to eat a lot of vegetables. You're eating a lot of salad, a bunch of avocado is a big thing on keto. And while carnivore is a ketogenic diet, because by the very nature of the diet, you're going to be super, very low carb, the goal of carnivore is not necessarily ketosis, where the goal of keto is staying in ketosis. So that's probably the difference outside of just the diet itself between keto and carnivore is the goal of it.
Okay. Yeah, because I've done the keto diet myself just because I'm like most people, I kind of struggle with that. And I haven't really found anything that works well for me that I can stay on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the hard part for a lot of people is being able to do it consistently day in and day out.
Did you find that when you were doing keto, you had a lot of cravings?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And it felt like I was almost always hungry all the time, no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Were there times where you allowed yourself keto treats with like artificial sweeteners and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I find that that's another huge difference between keto and carnivore, because there are carnivores who allow themselves to eat things like honey and some limited types of fruits and still call it animal-based. But on the keto diet, they say that as long as you are in ketosis and whatever it is that you're eating does not spike your blood glucose level, that it's still ketogenic. And so you run into an issue where those who are following the keto diet enjoy keto cheesecake. And it never really allows you to shake the cravings for sugar. Because if you have that mouth feel of something creamy and sweet, you're going to want it the next day and the next day and the next day. And that's just how we're biologically wired. Our bodies, you look at, human evolution, and for millions of years we ate meat largely, except for certain times of the year when we had access to fruit. And it was in very limited quantities. It was at the height of when it was ripe, and so it was very sweet, and that triggered our bodies to say, okay, summer's coming to an end, it's about to be fall, it's time to put on some extra body fat, seek this out because it's delicious, I'm not going to lie. And so we have some very fine-tuned metabolic evolutionary mechanisms that cause those sweet cravings to almost be undeniable at the end of the day.
Yeah, very true. And it's hard to well, it's not really hard to kick it. You just got to be able to stay on the right track.
Yes. Yep. I have found that because I came from a weight loss background. That's the whole reason that I got started with anything, trying to figure out why was I gaining weight. I was a very high level athlete when I was in college. I played volleyball for Texas State. And I hurt my knee, became almost sedentary, and ended up ballooning up to almost 260 pounds. At 5'11", to be fair, I carried it very well. I had a lot of muscle still on my body, but I was a size 18 going into a size 20, and that's kind of when I had to hit the brakes on it, and I knew that something needed to change. And a friend of mine introduced me to Mark's Daily Apple and the Mark Sisson Primal Blueprint program. And that's kind of where my journey on lower carb, high fat eating started. I lost 75 pounds using that program, which I thought was fantastic. And I was able to largely maintain it. During the holidays, I would kind of go off course and gain the 10 to 15 pounds during the holidays, but then I would very quickly lose it whenever I would get back on track. But I suddenly developed eczema. I'd had it during my childhood, but they gave me, steroid creams and everything to treat it. But then when I was on the primal diet, eating a bunch of salads and a bunch of avocado and very lean protein, I started to get eczema on my ankle. And it was almost unlivable. Like I would scratch until I would bleed. It was terrible. And when I found the carnivore diet in November 2018, so I've been carnivore now for almost 3.5 years, pretty strict. I'd say 90 to 95% strict. And it took some time, but my eczema went away. My hair got thicker. My nails got thicker. I lost 12 pounds of just pure water weight in the first 10 days of doing carnivore. And I've settled now into like a maintenance mode where I can pretty easily eat what I want as much as I want, because it's hard to binge eat steak. If you've ever been to one of those, you can eat like churrascaria Brazilian steakhouses. At some point, you just have to put the fork down and flip your little cart over and say, I'm done. Like I can't eat any more of this. And I realized through this experiment that I was running, doing the carnivore diet, because, you can always add vegetables and fruit back. What really do you lose if you try this for 90 days? And I found that I was so satisfied after eating that I did not feel the need to then go back into the kitchen late at night and find that little piece of chocolate or have that little bowl of ice cream or whatever it was that I would do before and just snack all the time, because that's what would happen. You have a blood sugar dip and you just get hangry, and then you shove whatever food is in your face around that time. Yep. And it just leads to this cycle of binging and then, oh no, what have I done? And this guilt spiral that you go down, and okay, well, I'll start over tomorrow. And then it just repeats. over and over and over
Yeah.
again. So personally, for me, the only thing that I have ever been able to do that controlled those cravings was the carnivore diet.
So when you break it down as far as what you eat in a day, say you're doing the 2 meals a day. How does that
Mm-hmm.
break down as far as whether it be steak, chicken, beef? How does that work?
So the way that I do it personally, and everyone's different, and so they will all approach this with a little bit of their own spin to it. But I know that my total caloric need for the day is around 1,800 calories. So that's what I start with. And then if I'm more active during the day, like if I go to the gym, I'll add a couple hundred extra calories in the form of like a tablespoon or two of extra butter with my steak. But as far as the 2 meals a day, I know that I need to eat that 1,800 calories, give or take. And so I will break that up to have my eggs in the morning. So that would look like 4 to 6 eggs in the morning, whether they're poached, scrambled, fried, raw, sometimes mixed in a little bit of milk. And then later in the day, before 7 o'clock, I will eat my second meal, which will usually consist of about a pound of ribeye.
Wow.
And that will get me, yeah, yeah. I eat probably about a pound to a pound and a half of meat every day. And my husband, who's also carnivore, he eats probably about 2-ish pounds of meat, give or take a day. So we're a household of meat over here.
There you go.
But roughly that's how it breaks down to. I'll take that one meal and split it in two. If I'm hungry in the morning, I'll go ahead and have my eggs, and then I'll have the steak at night.
Nice. Yeah, I looking at your Instagram page, I was trying to figure out how that would work, just like for me personally, just because I am kind of a bigger guy. And of course, I'm not super, super active, but I do work in an automotive shop, so I'm back and forth quite a bit. And,
Okay. Lots of walking.
lots of walking, yeah. I'd say somewhere between, according to the counter on my watch, it's probably anywhere between 7 to 10,000 a day, roughly.
Hey, there
So,
you go.
and I've noticed that, since I've been trying to figure out a way to manage everything, because I do have nerve damage in my feet, that seems to have helped. It's really weird, but I guess that has a lot to do with it.
Okay, so you're trying to figure out how to implement more of like a lower carb. Is that what I'm
Yeah,
hearing?
how to apply kind of like what you all do to what would fit for me, and it's one of those things where because I do work full time and I'm doing the podcast and a few other things. So I don't have a whole lot of time to prep, so to speak. Even though,
Okay.
but I don't know exactly how that would break down as far as what I would have to, what the limit would be on calorie intake or pounds of meat per se.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you need some kind of quick, on the go, not so much meal prep options. Are you interested in a 2 mod, or would you feel more comfortable maybe starting with 3 meals a day?
It'd probably be the 3 because I do eat breakfast on occasion.
Okay. What are you eating for breakfast?
Usually it's nothing really good. Like little cereal bars or granola bars or something like that, usually.
Okay. Do you think that those granola bars are helping you or hurting you in terms of reaching your goals?
Oh, they're most definitely hurting me. Most definitely. I would think so anyway. For a while
Okay.
there, I was boiling eggs and eating eggs in the morning, and I would take them and snack on them at lunch as well.
Okay.
And then
And how did that work for you?
It did for a little while, and I think it's because I was eating it twice in a day. It kind of burned me out on it.
Hmm.
Um,
Fair.
but
Were you eating them hard boiled or were you eating them soft boiled?
hard boiled. I'm not.
Just out of
Yeah,
curiosity.
hard boiled. I have tried the soft boiled thing, and and I haven't figured that out yet.
Okay, the runny yolk kind of turns you off a
No,
little
I
bit.
actually prefer that. Yeah,
Oh, oh. Well, that's soft boiled.
yeah. I just haven't figured out how to make it and it be correct.
Oh, the timing of it.
Yeah,
The timing of it. I see. I see. That's fair. That's fair. Because that's like one of those things where if you leave it for 1 minute too long, it's cooked. But if you leave it for 1 minute not enough, the white around the yolk is like raw.
yeah.
So I hear you. I hear you on that. That's a tough one. Um, okay, because that's usually a really great go-to. So props on that for doing the boiled eggs with. Did you ever try bacon? Like taking bacon in a baggie?
I haven't. Bacon is definitely
Yeah.
my
What do you
weakness.
think about that? Okay. I mean, bacon's a good weakness to have.
Oh yeah,
I had some earlier.
exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I find that it's really easy to make bacon in bulk, and then you can portion them into little baggies of, however many pieces you want to take with you, and then just snack on them throughout the day. In the past, if I can share some success that my clients have
Sure.
had with converting to carnivore, they do really well with either the hard boiled or the soft boiled, depending on preference and being able to figure out how to get it to that soft
Right.
boiled point with the baggies of eggs and bacon. And they, for the people who are hesitant to cut back the number of meals that they're eating, you don't have to do that in the beginning because, especially as you're going through the blood sugar roller coaster, if you feel like you need something to eat something.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I definitely want. I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens.
Keep me
Oh
posted.
yeah, most definitely. Um, so as far as your client's success, what kind of stuff have they achieved?
I have seen everything from weight loss to hair regrowth. Like in my personal case, because I was an athlete, I pulled my hair back all the time. And so I had these
Hmm.
bald spots right here that would go back like to here. All of that is regrown. People have cured their psoriasis. They've come off rheumatoid arthritis medication. Golly, just lowered inflammation, headaches go away. I've had people report that floaters that they've had in their eyes are gone. Reversing like the big things, type 2 diabetes. In my own personal case, I was pre-diabetic whenever I was at my biggest. And so just in my own health journey, I have personally reversed type 2 diabetes, which has been kind of a big deal because type 1 and type 2 run on both sides of my family. So genetically, I'm at even a greater risk for that. But I have very successfully managed it with diet over the last decade. I have seen 20, 50-pound weight loss. The stuff that your body is capable of healing. Hashimoto's is another one. People who are on thyroid medication,
Hmm.
they can come off of their thyroid medication over time.
Gotcha. Because my wife
And
has
I
that.
am
Yeah,
really, really,
yeah.
well, hey, I mean, it might be worth looking at some kind of zero carb protocol. But with that said, I do have to preface that I am a board certified health coach, but I am not a doctor. And so none of this is meant to be medical advice or suggest that, like keep working with your doctor, especially if you're taking medication, and see if the diet will work for you, and then get with your doctor about coming off of the medication and see. My own father has been able to come off of metformin and a statin thanks to
Wow.
the lower carb eatings. It hits pretty close to home because he had a heart attack August 2019,
Oh
and it was
wow.
a complication of having diabetes his whole life. And when, I mean, it was a banner day when he was able to get off of all of his medication. His triglycerides were in the 600s. It was awful. In 6 weeks, I can show you the blood work. In 6 weeks on just low carb, not even carnivore, just low carb eating, they were down to 150.
Wow.
So if you are working with not, if you're working with a doctor and they tell you that diet has no impact on your metabolic health, please find a new doctor, because that is not true.
Right.
It could not be farther from the truth.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think what you're offering and what you're doing is great work. I mean, it's definitely something different that I hadn't heard of up until recently. And it makes sense to have the protein throughout the day versus, the other items you could have, just because some of that stuff has sugar in it.
A lot of it has sugar in it. And even if it doesn't say sugar on the package, maltodextrin is still sugar. Brown rice syrup is still sugar. They have all of those sneaky words for sugar, and it's not necessarily sugar as you and I know it, the granulated, white processed table sugar, but it's an industrial sweetener that will trigger your insulin, that will trigger your blood glucose, that will make you put on weight. And it's insidious. It's in everything.
Yeah. Everything you pick up either has that, was it aspartame? I can never say it correctly.
Yeah. Aspartame. Yeah.
And it's in everything. Even if you pick up something that says it's healthy, it's probably not.
Yeah. A lot of the gluten-free processed food, it's kind of virtue signaling health, because they pick up on these trends in what people are trying to do. And for a long time, the big craze was going gluten-free, and fair, because gluten has a massive impact on our bodies, some people more than others. But in order to make the gluten-free treats tolerable, they would load them up with sugar. And so you would actually, in the long run, be better off just eating the gluten product rather than trying to cheat the system and eat the gluten-free thing, thinking that you're being more healthy. Like there's no such thing as a free lunch when it comes to your metabolic health.
Right. Exactly. So just out of curiosity, I know you're on Instagram. Are you on Facebook as well?
I am. I do have a Carnivore Kimberly Facebook page, yes. And I also run the original Carnivore Nation on Facebook as well. And we have about 4,500 members of that. And we have a lot of discussion about, is this okay to eat? How should I cook my steak? Someone help me. I'm trying to do a low oxalate diet. And so we have a lot of support on there for people who are just
I'll have
starting.
to check that out. And that's on Instagram?
The Carnivore Nation is on Facebook. So if you go to facebook.com/groups/Carnivore Nation, you'll find my page.
Excellent. I'll have to check that out, and I'll definitely share it. Do you have a website?
I actually don't. I run most of my stuff through my Instagram, but my email is believe in yourself, at choosezerocoaching.com. And the whole philosophy behind why I chose Choose Zero Coaching is because I want to help people achieve autonomy when it comes to their own health. So if you come to me seeking clarity or guidance, or you're confused about something, I am not the coach who's going to sit down and slide a meal plan across the table and say, you have to adhere to this or you won't have any success. And if you don't meet these macros, you're a failure. And, we're going to tweak these every week or whatever. I'm going to work with you in where you are in your life to figure out solutions, co-create solutions to figure out how you can meet your goals on your terms, at your pace, doing what you like to do, eating the food that you like to eat. So I have never been the type of person who, well, never say never, because I was pretty dogmatic about some stuff in the beginning, but even now, as a carnivore, if I want to have a piece of cheesecake, I will make that intentional decision to have cheesecake and then go back and shake it off. This was a one-time deal, special occasion or whatever, and get right back on it. And I've never been able to do that before. And so that is what I want to share with people. And it's hard work. It's tough losing weight, because everywhere you look around you, food advertisements, you drive down the street, you smell McDonald's, and all of that is designed to light up the little things in your brain that make you go, ooh, I want that.
Yeah.
And it's learning your triggers and learning your habits and figuring out coping mechanisms to get beyond that 2-minute craving, to where you can get your little baggie of bacon and your baggie of soft-boiled eggs and sit down and just enjoy that nutrition. And when I started to reframe the way that I fed myself by saying I need to eat as opposed to I need to nourish myself, my whole outlook on food changed. So I really want to share that with people, because it is possible. It's very possible.
Oh yeah, anything you put your mind to, you can definitely do it. And when it comes down to that, I know for me, just personally for me, trying to stick on the diet, it's more mental than it is physical, as far as getting the cravings, because I don't really get that. But, walking through the store, you'll pass something that you like, and it's hard not to pick it up.
Yeah. You're like, ooh, double stuffed Oreos. Don't mind if I do. Yeah. I've been there. And it is the hardest thing in the world, because you get that little thing in the back of your mind going, you could eat those.
Yeah. It won't hurt you. Go ahead and have a few. Yeah.
Yeah. And yes, we're all adults. We can eat whatever we want at the end of the day. But the question is, does that food serve you towards your goals, or is it moving you farther away from your goals? And the program that I offer, the goal, the only meal plan, if you'll call it that, is to choose 0 sugar, to choose 0 seed oils, and to choose 0 refined processed carbohydrates. So nothing out of a box. So Oreos, no go. But if my client finds that they are struggling with that, let's talk about it. Let's find where the root of that struggle comes from, and let's figure out ways to either distract yourself or remove the temptation, or whatever it is that you have to do. Let's work together to figure that out.
And now, let me get it worded right. Sorry. What kind of pricing comes with what you offer?
It varies. It really varies. I have an option to do kind of an a la carte type of a coaching, and that one's been very popular, where it's like a per coaching session charge. And that basically, anytime that you need some coaching or you have a question about something, we set up a time, and then for 45 minutes to an hour, I will coach someone to either get them back on track, or, how do I get started on this? Just kind of a general Q&A. That one has definitely been pretty popular so far, as opposed to like the bigger, longer, like 6 to 12 week packages, if you will, where it's a little bit more of a time commitment, a money commitment, and definitely have seen success with that. But it also seems like people just need occasionally a little hand holding, and then they're good to go. Like once they figure out, oh, I didn't realize that I was doing this and this and this and this, they're like, oh, well, that's easy. Now I can do this and this and this instead. And then they're off to the races. And because it's something that they came up with during the coaching call, they have success with it. So it's been really interesting.
Very cool. So I definitely appreciate you taking time out to talk with me and explain what you do and how it works, because it's very interesting to people, especially to people like me that are struggling. And,
Hmm.
people like me also will try anything to see if it works. So I definitely will give it a shot and see what
Sure.
happens.
I've been there. Yeah. Yeah. And I like to share something with you, is that in one way or another, we are all struggling. No one has 100% on lock. Like there are times where I'm sitting on the couch and all of a sudden I'm just like, I need ice cream, and it just kind of hits me and I'm going, where did this come from? So I still deal with cravings. I just find that I have the discipline now to say that doesn't serve me. And there are times where I make the decision to indulge in ice cream. And then I'm able to say, okay, that served me because of I think it's Paul Saladino who calls it the quality of life equation. Is my life going to be improved by having this ice cream right now? Or will it not be improved by having this ice cream right now? And so there's a balance, there's a balance there, because we can't just be 1,000% on all the time.
Yeah.
We're human. We are human, so we have to have love, grace, and mercy for ourselves.
That's definitely a good way of putting it, for sure. But I appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with me. Definitely would like
Of
to
course, my
possibly
pleasure.
do it again soon. Um, we'll see
Absolutely.
how the diet goes for me. So wish me luck there. And I guess we'll talk to you soon. And I'll definitely share your
Okay.
Instagram. I'll look up the Facebook and send all that out.
Mhm.
And I hope you have a great night.
I will do so, and you do
Thank
the
you.
same.
No
Thanks so much
problem.
for
Thank
having
you.
me.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks.